DotaFanTV, what is going on, boys and girls? Welcome back to the channel. Another week has passed, therefore another week of TI10 qualifier. Last week we looked at SA and CIS, and this week it will be Southeast Asia and North America. Talking about TI, we do know that Sweden basically say no to the event, but we do not know whether or not it will happen in August. No confirmation is given so far. Having said that, we are only 1 month away from August. In my opinion, it's unlikely. Just don't put your hopes so much on TI happening in August. I think it will be happening in maybe September, if not October earliest. Having said that, Valve still say just go ahead with the TI10 qualifier at the moment, so we still get to see all these games being played. Obviously we have another 2 more regions coming up. Without further ado, we can look into those that we have seen so far this week. Alright, first up we have the North America region, where Undying ultimately made it and out of the qualifier and made themselves available for TI10, and in what an incredible fashion as well, because if you look at the result that they have pulled through, 2-0 against the Cut, and then 2-0 against Black and Yellow, 2-0 again against Zoomers, and then the last series in the best of 5 they 3-0 against 4 Zoomers again. So they actually didn't drop one single game. Wow, I actually didn't realize this until I looked deeper into it. Of course, I wasn't watching a lot of the NA games because I was watching SEA. That was my region, and the timing made much more sense, so don't flame me for that. But my main point is Undying is I think very much expected favorite from everyone, but nobody kind of expect them to be doing it in such an convincing matter. I think so dominant across, not dropping a single game is incredible actually, meaning the mistakes that you make are very, very minimal and proving themselves to be one class ahead of everyone else. I do want to talk a little bit about the final between 4 Zoomer and Undying, and basically just the differences between these two teams. So just very quickly highlight, the first thing I wanted to talk about is actually I think the main difference between the two teams are actually coming from the supports, the support duo, where when I watched the game, I didn't watch fully, I was watching the highlight. When I watched the game, I always felt like the support from Undying have so much more impact. And if I'm going to give an MVP, it's probably have to be one of the post 5 or post 4. Actually, no, maybe the mid brow play very, very, very well as well. But my main point is the support duo in Undying are really, really impactful in all the games that I've watched so far. But it is undoubtedly, it makes sense for them to be so good because you have Moon Meander, I think he's a major winner, and you have Dubu. Dubu is, in NA at least, I think one of the best post 5, if not the best. He does post some of his content on YouTube, and then I am a post 5 player, so I reference to his gameplay quite a lot sometimes and learn a lot from that. There is no flaming to the support in 4 Zoomers. I don't know them very well, but I'm just saying whenever I watch the highlight, I don't know whether obviously they are also given heroes that has a lot of impact. Phoenix, Winter Wyvern, Nyx Assassin, and another Winter Wyvern, another Nyx Assassin. I guess if I'm 4 Zoomer, I will look deeper into banning these supports, because if I compare the cores player right between the two teams, I would say it's very comparable, but it's just the impact that I've seen from these two players are so immense. They control the game so well for their team. Besides that, talking about the hero draft, I think 4 Zoomers, in all 3 games, right, there are at least one particular moment where the carry from 4 Zoomers are actually top of the net worth. But I kind of felt like don't really see a lot of impact from the top net worth hero, and maybe that is because the hero that they pick. So if you see, the first game is Naga, and then the second game is Void, the third game is X carry. So these are not very meta kind of, maybe X is the exception, but these two are not very meta kind of carry. So even with a lot of net worth, they couldn't make it work kind of thing. So maybe they should draft a little bit better. That would be my opinion. I think 4 Zoomers, I'm not sure if they have a coach, probably not. I think something they can look into if they want to improve their season, because they are in the DPC, they are playing for TI spots, they're playing for major spots. If they want to take themselves to another level, a coach is definitely something they should look at, and also would help them a lot in making sure not giving Winter Wyvern away, not giving like Nyx away to this brilliant support player in Undying. One other thing that I noticed also, that I learned, I would say, from this series is that I realized that Viper is actually a crazily good counter against Axe. I don't think a lot of people notice that once if you apply the break mechanics to Axe, right, he doesn't spin anymore. So that would means that a lot of those carry Axe like to blink and buy Manta and then, you know, start killing Berserk and kill the other hero. But if you have the speed ability from Viper, you basically just nullify the entire play, that nullify the entire Axe basically, and that is what happened in this game. Obviously the Axe in this game is not carry, is off lane, but still I'm just trying to highlight that point where I don't think a lot of people would think of Viper as a natural counter to Axe, but yeah, it is a good counter actually. You can even run Viper off lane against Axe in the safe lane, and I think it would work very, very well as well. Besides that, I don't think there's a lot of other things to highlight. Maybe the drama between Black and Yellow and Bumblebees. For those who didn't know, Bumblebee is basically your Sama, Eternal Envy, where he was previously in Black and Yellow and then he left to Bumblebee, and then there's a little bit of drama there where Black and Yellow in the end beat Bumblebee. And then in the post-game interview, Black and Yellow actually said like, oh, if I can, I would want to drop to lower bracket to meet Bumblebee again and to knock them out of the TI qualifier. And then someone played the dun 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 dun, because if you look at this, you have Black and Yellow and Bumblebee in the lower bracket. Yeah, it was Bumblebee who beat Black and Yellow. But regardless of it, the result doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things because, you know, like I said, Undying beat everyone in a dominant fashion in NA. Alright, right now we have Southeast Asia. I think it is not hyperbolic to say this is the most stacked region for the entire TPC. Maybe not the most stacked. Maybe Europe is the most stacked, but this is definitely, if not the most stacked, they are the second most stacked region. Where we have big teams like TNC, OB Neon, Fnatic, all these didn't make it to TI, therefore have to play through the qualifier. And at the end of the day, for those who didn't know, the result was Fnatic 3-2 reverse sweep against TNC Predator, and Fnatic finally make it to TI. I would say on the balance of play, the two teams are very, very close in terms of their ability. It really depends on which team show up at the end of the day. I would say Fnatic probably deserve it, looking at their run where they beat TNC once already in the upper bracket final and then beat them again in the grand final where Fnatic just reverse sweep them. Talking about TNC, I think they're really, really close at the end of the day. I have a little bit of hot take in this topic where I think it is... I don't think people notice how disadvantaged it is to be playing in the lower bracket and go to the final. And it's something I've noticed not just for this qualifier, but even for TI or whatever. Actually, in every single tournament, it is like that, right? Where the lower bracket final team have to go into the grand final and then they have to play both series in the same day. But in a situation where the team's ability are really, really close, like what we see over here, the fatigue of teams having to play 8 high-intensity games in a single day, it's really very telling. And not to mention as well, that a lot of the game in Southeast Asia are more than 60 minutes there. I have just randomly clicked into this. It's more than 60 minutes. Do we have any 60-minute game over here? Not in the final. There's one game that's a bit close, but yeah, there are so many games that's more than 60 minutes in Southeast Asia, and it's just become damn fatigue. Imagine playing. I play 3 games in a day. I feel super tired already, and these players have to play 8 games in a day. Of course, you could say that they are athlete and they are supposed to be able to do that. Having said that, at the highest level, it really does make a difference in my opinion. So if there is something I can change, I would want like the final day to be just this series, and this series to be played in somewhere else, the lower bracket final. But that is just my take. It has been like that for quite some time. I mean, yeah. Anyway, another thing I wanted to highlight in TNC is I'm gonna be offending some people over here, but I'm gonna say it anyway. It's my opinion, right? I think the TNC offlane is part of the reason that they didn't make it. The TNC offlane is a new player that they have after they kick KP, which is a player called Bok. I haven't really heard a lot about him, but I have seen him quite a lot in the major and also the qualifier, and I felt like there are not a lot of games where I felt like, okay, Bok is really the MVP. Bok really helped the team a lot. I don't know whether it's because of the sacrificial role that he has been playing, but he's not top of net worth. He's not the kind of player that is going to carry his team from his back. And okay, let's talk about the last game, for example, right? Where TNC picked DP offlane and he's against X. Shouldn't be a bad matchup as well. But if you look at the offlane of Fnatic, which is Tidehunter, against the Spectre in the safe lane, that is a bad matchup in my opinion. And DP actually do very, very well against the Tidehunter. He is the only hero in this series that do well against the Tidehunter. So I don't know why the coach didn't suggest it, or the offlane didn't suggest it, that they should be swapping lane. Putting DP in the safe lane against Tidehunter is so well. And if you have Mirana and Tidehunter in the safe, it's not going to do anything against the DP, right? So yeah, that's part of the problem as well, where I just don't think Bok fits in TNC so well, in my opinion. The rest of the team are fine. And on the other hand, if you look at Fnatic, right, they kicked the mid Moon, CEO Moon, and they recruited Def, the Singaporean player, into there as their offlane, and that makes so much difference. Like a lot of this game, he's so good, man. Like in the third game, the beginning of their comeback, his Pangolier is basically, in my opinion, the MVP of the game. His role is so damn good. He disrupted so many fights with his role. And then the last game as well, I think he has to be the MVP. The Tidehunter is unkillable, untouchable. And he basically built crazy item like freaking Desolator and yes, he just know his game so well. And I compare these two teams, I really felt like the offlane made the difference, and the new recruitment of the team made the difference. Yeah. About SEA, what else I want to talk about is the team that I predicted will win is actually SMG. Is basically the earlier version of Team Secret, where you have who are the players? Let's see. You have Mid1, you have Moon, you have KP, Afu. Really all-star kind of roster. But when I watched their game, I start to realize that individually they are really skilled. But if you look at them as a team, it's very disorganized. Oftentimes you can see the support wander off and then not be around the team. They don't know what they want to achieve, what is the common goal as a team. It feels like a pub game where it's very stacked in one team kind of feeling. And then when you see the fight as well, it could be, very disorganized kind of fight. Some player want to run away, some player want to go fight, and then kind of, I don't know whether they needed more time or they needed more in-game leader or what is going on over there. One last thing I also want to highlight is that there's so many 60 minutes game in Southeast Asia. I don't know what the hell is going on. I couldn't actually come up with a hypothesis why does this region have so many 60-minute game? Because if you say it's a fear of losing, I mean every single region is fear of losing, right? And of all the region, I would expect Southeast Asia to be the one that is the most messy and disorganized. But a lot of games are actually playing until 60 minutes. They were a bit too organized, a bit too safe in my opinion. But yeah, that is the nature of the thing. I'm watching a lot of games from early, like 10, 12 in the morning, all the way until like nighttime, 12, 1 a.m. It's freaking crazy, man. So that's it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this kind of video, give me a thumbs up and let me know down in the comment below what do you think about this new microphone. For those who love to hear me rambling about the DPC, talk about TI, talk about teams, Dota 2, feel free to sub to the channel. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.